Hey folks, how you all doing? So today I thought I would rank the 7 studio albums by American soft rock, adult orientated rock, middle of the road rock band, country rock, country folk band, the Eagles. Um, was never a fan of the Eagles. I was always a America fan when I was younger, so I have probably a dozen of their albums on vinyl and compact disc. And then around a decade ago, I guess, this was at a record shop in a discount bin, and it was this here, and it contains the first 6 studio albums by the Eagles, and it was about $35. So 6 albums, $35. It's about $5.50 for an album. So I ended up getting that because I thought, well, their singles are pretty good. There's going to be a few album tracks I like. And yeah, I actually really liked it. So then I went out and purchased this one as well. That way it's all complete. So yeah, I haven't been a fan all that long. I certainly wouldn't call myself a big fan of the Eagles. But I thought I'd rank their albums for a bit of fun anyway. So yeah, leave your comments in the comment section below of what your rankings of the Eagles albums would be. And if you're a bigger fan than me, which you probably are anyway, you can probably correct me on my rankings list. But as it is, we'll go from 7 to 1, 1 being my favourite album by the Eagles. So off we go at number 7 on my list. Have this one, The Long Road Out of Eden, released in 2007. This was their 7th and obviously final studio album. It's a double CD. There's 20 tracks on it. This one took 7 years of recording. 7 years of recording to get to the point of release. About 10 of these tracks are just really, really bad in my opinion. There's another 2 or 3 that really aren't that great. So it is about 10 tracks too long. I also don't like the politicised anti-Gulf War messages on this album. It's just too in your face with a lot of the tracks. Same old overused formula that this band have always had. There's ballads, there's country, there's folk rock, there's soft rock. So it's all the stuff they've been known over the years. Come back and done it again. For me, the best tracks would be How Long, Busy Being Fabulous, and Waiting in the Weeds. It's a pretty decent first disc, that would have made a good single disc album. Don't like little on the second disc. Pretty abysmal second disc, barely scrapes in a pass mark, and it is 5 out of 10 for me. At number 6 on my list, we go to The Long Run. I actually do have this one on vinyl, which I got back in the day as well. It's their 6th studio album. This was released in 1979. It's their final album prior to splitting up and getting back together and releasing The Long Road Out of Eden. It's sort of a pop album, but it's not really a pop album, so to speak. But it's a lot more poppy than their previous albums prior to this one. There's a lot of synthesizers on here as well, which weren't so prevalent on their previous albums, which probably makes it sound a bit more poppy than what it is. Just sounds like a band going through the motions to me. It's just to fulfill contractual obligations, I suspect. Songs are fairly weak overall. They seem unfinished, like not polished and complete. Even the sound on this album is pretty average, and that includes the vinyl that I've got as well. The album was supposed to be a double vinyl. That was the original concept for it, double album, but it was whittled down to a single. I found on Wikipedia that one of the American Billboard reviewists at the time actually said, if this is the best of what they have, I can only imagine how bad the leftovers on the cutting room floor are. And yeah, no, I pretty well do agree with that to an extent. It's not really a good album. It's very, very average. Best tracks on here for me are Sad Cafe and Heartache Tonight. And even The Long Run, I don't even like the title track that much. Very, very average album. That one comes in at 5 out of 10 also. Number 5 on my list, we go to 1974's On the Border. This was their third studio album. Has more of a rock sound to it than probably any of their other albums. An actual full-on rock sound. Yeah, it's country. There's a couple of country-ish tracks on it, but for the most part it is a rock album. What else? Yeah, there's nothing to dislike on this album. There's some pretty cliched lyrics in the James Dean song and Old 55, which are slightly cringeworthy at times. Overall, it's a decent album. As I said, nothing really bad on it. Best track for me is Best of My Love, which was the biggest single off the album. The other two tracks that really stand out to me are You Never Cry Like a Lover and Already Gone. That album comes in at 6.5 out of 10 for me. Number 4 on my list, self-titled debut album from 1972. Obviously self-titled, it's called The Eagles. Soft rock album, middle of the road, country folk, country rock, folk rock album. There's nothing wrong with this album at all. There's 3 great singles on it. So pretty much the same as what I had to say about the previous album, only there's 3 great songs on it, which puts it apart and above On the Border. 3 favourite tracks are the 3 singles off it: Take It Easy, Witchy Woman and Peaceful Easy Feeling. That one also comes in at 6.5 out of 10. Number 3 on my list, we go to 1975 with their 4th studio album titled One of These Nights. This was the album that took them to the big time. When I say big time, I mean top 10 pretty much around the world, scraping in the top 10 and some countries even charting for the first time. It does contain their formulaic soft rock, country rock sounds. Now generally I'm not a fan of instrumental music. I do like some instrumental music. But one of the best tracks on this album is a 6-minute instrumental called Journey of the Sorcerer. Some cool banjo playing on that track, and there's enough variation over that 6 minutes to keep me interested in the album. So yeah, just a really good album. Not a great album, but a really good album. Best tracks on here for me: Take It to the Limit, Lion Eyes, One of These Nights, and of course Journey of the Sorcerer. This one comes in at 7.5 out of 10. 2 albums to go. Number 2 on my list, Hotel California, released in 1976. It was their 5th studio album. Soft rock, country rock, folk rock. Don't know if I mentioned previously, I don't think I have, but these guys' harmonies are just absolutely incredible. They're up there with the best in my opinion. This album encompasses everything that the band were good at. They took all the best things from all their 4 previous albums and basically harnessed it on this album, in my opinion. There's the harmonies, the melodies, the musicianship, even the production is second to none. This album may be number 2 on my list, but I can see why it's sold 35 million copies or thereabouts and is ranked number 1 by most fans. Favourite songs for me, so here you are, there's 9 songs on this album and I'm picking 5 songs as standout songs, so it just shows you how difficult it is to separate songs on this album. So my favourite songs are Wasted Time, Hotel California, Life in the Fast Lane. I was debating whether to put New Kid in Town because sometimes I just find that song cringeworthy, but on this occasion when I listened to it, really loved it. And my favourite Eagles song of all time, The Last Resort, is on this album. 8.5 out of 10. That's the first album of theirs I really love out of the 6 so far. And finally, number 1 on my list, Eagles fans are going to know exactly what this is, and it is Desperado. This was their 2nd studio album. It was released in 1973. It's country folk for the most part. The album does have a central theme running through it, and that is desperados, outlaws from that whole cowboy type period, Wild West period type thing, and yet it still remains in my opinion, as being a non-concept album, even though there's a loose theme running through it. Just an excellent album, from the opening track, Duel and Dalton, right through to the Duel and Dalton / Desperado reprise at the close of the album. It's just one of those great early 70s albums. Like some of America's early stuff, like Crosby, Stills and Nash, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young albums. It's just on that same level. Absolutely great stuff. Favourite songs on here for me, Saturday Night, Desperado, which I was surprised. Desperado wasn't even a single from what I can find, and yet that probably gets more airplay on Australian radio here in Western Australia than any of their other tracks, which is strange. Tequila Sunrise, and of course the reprise of Duel and Dalton / Desperado at the end of the album. Absolutely incredible album, 9 out of 10 for me. So there you go, folks. That's my quick rundown of the 7 studio albums by American rock band. The Eagles. Leave your comments in the comments section below what you think of the Eagles. I know they're a sort of band that you either love or hate. There's no sort of in between with the Eagles. Is my ranking about right? Would a diehard fan probably rank all these albums similar to me? If you're a diehard fan, let me know in the comments section below. As it is, I'm just a casual fan, but I like what I like. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe, take care, all for now. Catch you around, and bye, folks.